Are you an extrovert, an introvert, or an ambivert? Your personality traits determine how you interact with and react to the world around you. Knowing more about them can help you learn where you feel most comfortable, both socially and professionally. Extrovert. An extrovert is someone who draws energy from being around people. They like to be out and about, attending social events and engaging with others. An extrovert may be called a people person. Signs of an extrovert. You enjoy working in a group. Extroverted people tend to feel most comfortable when working with other people, whether the task is a work project, party planning with friends, or a school assignment. You might organize the group, keep it running smoothly, or even jump in as the leader. You're always ready to try something new. Extroverts tend to take action rather than ponder. Once you decide to do something, you usually just go for it without worrying too much about what might happen. You may not spend a lot of time considering all potential outcomes, and people might even describe you as impulsive. Talking through a problem often helps you solve it. Extroverted people often find it easier to understand and solve problems when they can talk through them, restate them in their own words, or seek input from other people. You find it easy to express yourself. Extroverted people usually have little to no trouble expressing thoughts, feelings, and opinions. These can range from minor preferences, such as the foods you dislike, to deeper emotions, including romantic feelings. While some people might think of you as blunt, the ability to clearly communicate how you feel without hesitating or worrying what others might think can often be a positive trait. Spending time alone can drain you. Extroverted people recharge best in the company of other people. You might move from one social setting to another, like to have people around you most of the time, and avoid spending time by yourself whenever possible. You find the good in everything. Keep in mind that being optimistic doesn't have to mean you're relentlessly cheerful and never sad. If something bad happens, it still affects you, and you probably still have days where you feel down, just like most people. But you may have an easier time finding silver linings in a negative situation. You're also more likely to focus on those and bounce back more readily when something bad happens instead of feeling drained and overwhelmed. You make friends easily. Extroverted people are generally known to be very sociable. If you fall on this end of the spectrum, you might have a large circle of friends, enjoy meeting new people, find it easy to have heart-to-heart conversations with strangers or people you don't know well. Introvert. An introvert is often thought of as a quiet, reserved, and thoughtful individual. They don't seek out special attention or social engagements, as these events can leave introverts feeling exhausted and drained. Signs of an introvert. You consider things carefully. When faced with a new opportunity or any big decision, you probably spend a good amount of time thinking it over before you make any plans to proceed. People with a more action-oriented approach may not always understand why you devote so much time to reflection, but this tendency to look before you leap may help you feel confident you're making the right choice for yourself. You prefer to avoid conflict. Generally speaking, introverted people are less likely to strike up conversations with people they don't know well, or even with people they do know well. If you do join a debate or discussion, you might be more likely to share your ideas in written form, anonymously, or both. Responding in writing gives you the chance to think over what you want to say first, which is probably what feels most comfortable to you. You're good at visualizing and creating. People on the more introverted end of the spectrum often spend a lot of time in their heads. Your friends and loved ones might say you're always off in your own world, or something along those lines. But that world is where you do your best work. You might think through challenges or use your imagination to brainstorm new ideas. Sharing those thoughts and feelings out loud may not come easily to you, but it might seem completely natural to write, illustrate, or set them to music. You're a natural listener. If you're introverted, socializing can drain your natural energy reserves, so you prefer to listen and absorb what's happening around you. When at work, among friends, or in other social settings, you usually settle comfortably into the background. The myth that introverts are shy or socially anxious stems from this natural tendency to quietly observe. Sure, you might avoid small talk, prefer to let the noise of the crowd wash over you, or feel better when you can tune everyone out with headphones. But you also listen and weigh ideas carefully, and when asked for your opinion, you often have quality ideas to contribute. You need plenty of time for yourself. This doesn't mean you always avoid people, but you probably don't have a large social network. Instead, you most likely share your available social energy with a handful of close friends. Even if you don't make friends easily and see no need to widen your circle, you highly value the people you do feel comfortable with. Being around lots of people drains your energy. Do you ever feel exhausted after spending time with a lot of people? After a day interacting with others, do you often need to retreat to a quiet place and have an extended amount of time all to yourself? One of the major characteristics of this personality type is that introverts have to expend energy in social situations, unlike extroverts who gain energy from such interactions. You have a small group of close friends. One common misconception about introverts is that they don't like people. While introverts typically do not enjoy a great deal of socializing, they do enjoy having a small group of friends to whom they are particularly close. Instead of having a large social circle of people they know only on a superficial level, introverts prefer to stick to deep, long-lasting relationships marked by a great deal of closeness and intimacy. People often describe you as quiet and may find it difficult to get to know you. Introverts are often described as quiet, reserved, mellow, and are sometimes mistaken for being shy. While some introverts certainly are shy, people certainly should not mistake introverts reserved for timidity. In many cases, people with this personality type simply prefer to choose their words carefully and not waste time or energy on needless chit-chat. You like to learn by watching, where extroverts tend to prefer to jump right in and learn through hands-on experience. Introverts typically prefer learning through observation. While extroverts typically learn through trial and error, introverts learn best by watching. Introverts like to watch others perform a task, often repeatedly, until they feel that they can replicate the actions on their own. When introverts do learn from personal experience, they prefer to practice somewhere private where they can build their skills and abilities without having to perform for an audience. You are drawn to jobs that involve independence. As you might imagine, jobs that require a great deal of social interaction usually hold little appeal to people high in introversion. On the other hand, careers that involve working independently are often a great choice for introverts. For example, an introvert might enjoy working as a writer, accountant, computer programmer, graphic designer, pharmacist, or artist. Ambivert. Ambiverts are in the middle. They may lean more toward extroverted or introverted behavior, depending on the situation. Signs of an ambivert. You do well in social settings and alone. Introverted people usually feel exhausted and worn out after a lot of socializing. On the other hand, when extroverted people spend a lot of time alone, they often notice a drop in mood and energy levels. As an ambivert, you might not feel too drained by either situation. Maybe you enjoy spending time on your own and around other people in fairly equal amounts. Active listening comes naturally to you. A key communication skill, active listening goes beyond simply listening. When you actively listen, you're engaged in the conversation. You consider what's being said and offer thoughtful responses. In conversations, you're more likely to listen carefully and respond, often helpfully, instead of quietly absorbing the conversation or immediately jumping in with your take on things. You're flexible when it comes to problem solving. Ambiverts may not feel too committed to any one approach to figuring things out. You might be comfortable talking over some types of problems, while you might like to take notes or doodle when solving others. This can be really helpful since trying a new method can sometimes offer a new viewpoint you hadn't considered. You're more decisive than impulsive. Introverts tend to think things over carefully, while extroverts may show more of an inclination to take chances without spending too much time pondering possible outcomes. As an ambivert, you might be willing to take chances after giving them some brief thought. Once you make up your mind to do something, you generally don't devote too much time to reconsidering. You do spend some time considering choices before you make them, but generally make a decision fairly quickly. And while you might get some background information about what you want to do, like moving to a new area, you don't feel the need to do exhaustive research to support your decision. Drawing others out is a natural talent. Ambiverts often have a knack for keeping group dynamics running smoothly. In a group of people, you're comfortable speaking when needed, but you're also ready to give others a chance to say their piece. If a conversation falters, you might add a quick comment or ask a thoughtful question that gets people talking again. This can also help you balance out friend groups or other social situations. You likely find it easier to understand how both introverts and extroverts might feel in the same setting. As a result, you might have a good instinct for the best ways to engage someone of any personality type. You adapt easily to new situations. Even if you don't always need to have people around, you might feel fairly comfortable engaging with others on short notice. Maybe you don't feel too bothered by putting down your book to talk with the person next to you on a plane, switching from a night out to a night in, or vice versa, or giving an impromptu speech at a meeting. His may not have been your first choice, but you're generally able to work with what's happening around. Your life experiences can significantly affect your personality too. It's possible to change or slide slightly on the spectrum throughout your life. You may learn to interact with others differently and reap rewards differently as an adult. There is no need to change or alter your personality. No matter what, your personality is a wonderful part of who you are.